earlier today, Baseball America updated their top 30 Yankees prospect ranking. So I'm going to be going over it, going over the top 10 who they say the top 10 Yankees prospects, giving my thoughts on it, and then going over some honorable mentions and notable players that they mentioned. So if you like Yankees videos, Yankees prospect content, then please subscribe. Let's get into it. Now, number one should be if you're a Yankees fan, big in Yankees prospects, you know who number one is, Anthony Volpe. He is a star. He's also now top 10 in all of baseball, according to Baseball America. He's ridiculous. He's a shortstop. He's a 30-30 type player in 109 games. In low A and high A, he hit 27 home runs, the 294 batting average, 423 on base percentage, and 604 slugging. Again, he's ridiculously good. He's a 30-30 type shortstop. The two questions that they had were whether or not he can stay at shortstop, because his arm, it's good, but not as strong as you would want a shortstop's arm to be. And what I like that they said is he's the one guy who's going to work his hardest to get his arm strength up. Arm strength's not really something that you can work on too much. But they said if there's anyone in all of the minor leagues who's going to work his hardest to increase his arm strength, then it's Anthony Volpe. So I thought that was cool. And then he needs to prove himself at Double A. He's played in low levels of the minors against weak competition. So he needs to prove himself at a higher level. Still, really good. Top 10 prospect in baseball now. Next, Oswald Peraza, another shortstop. Peraza is really good defensively. No doubt in anyone's mind that he will stay at shortstop. He also has a good bat. He just needs to polish everything up. He made it to AAA last year, which is the highest level of the minors. He just needs to work on getting that bat consistently, at a consistent level. He started it off at high A this season, and he was hitting really good. Then he went to Double A and was hitting okay. Then in AAA, he didn't really get a large sample size, but his performance fell off as he went up in the levels. So he just needs to polish everything up a little bit, and he'll be a real good player. Next, Jasson Dominguez, who I did a whole video on how to properly rank him. So I'll leave that in the description if you want to check that out. But they said a lot of what I said. He's still ridiculously talented, but he needs more at-bats. When we signed him, people were saying next Mike Trout, next Mickey Mantle. That was just unrealistic. He's less fast and athletic than what we once thought, but he's still really talented. Just needs to polish everything off. Needs more at-bats in the minors, and he's going to get those and be really good. Next, Luis Hill. He actually pitched in the majors last year in 29.1 innings, put up a 3.07 ERA. He has a great arm, throws really fast. The issue is he only has 3 pitches. He needs to work on his control. He walked around 5 batters per 9, mainly just a fastball, off-speed type guy. Used that changeup a little bit. They see him more as a multi-inning relief pitcher. I agree. He needs to get that control under control. Walking a lot less batters. Needs to work on developing a 4th and probably a 5th pitch if he really wants to be a starter. So I think he could be a really good multi-inning relief pitcher. Next is Austin Wells. Now, we drafted him 2 years ago with our number 1 overall pick. He is a catcher and a left-handed bat, which you love to see. Well, they said good bat, bad defense, and the question is whether or not he'll stay at catcher. He has good power, good bat, good contact skills. He's just not the fastest runner. He's not that athletic. Can he stay at catcher? It's a good question. A lot of people saying he needs to move to left field or first base. He hasn't made that move yet. It's going to be interesting to see what the Yankees do with him. Next, someone who, we haven't talked about too much. Hayden Wesnecky. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but he is a starting pitcher. They said he's a good 4th or 5th in the rotation. Needs to work on his command, though, in developing a cutter. He had a good season. His stats were pretty good. Let me pull them up right now. He pitched in Double A, I believe. He pitched in Triple A, Double A, and High A. And he was pretty good. Put up a 3.25 ERA. Got a lot of strikeouts. A lot to like about him. Just needs to work on developing that cutter a little bit more. Getting his command under control. Could be a nice 4th or 5th in the rotation. Maybe even 3rd. I like Wenzeki, if I'm pronouncing that right. Next is Trey Sweeney, who I'm a big fan of. He's a shortstop, left-handed bat. He profiles more as a third baseman. They do end up saying this. They said he has a good arm, but he'll probably need to move away from shortstop to a position like third. He could stay there, just makes more sense to move him. They say he's a plus hitter, so plus contact ability with at least average power. He's a decent runner, good baseball IQ. I like him a lot. I think he's going to be a fast riser in the farm. I kind of picture him as a left-handed Miguel Andujar in his rookie year, where Andujar is just hitting the ball a ton. And that, drove him to some power, hit a lot of doubles. I kind of see him as a left-handed Andujar who can actually play defense. I like that a lot. Next, Oswald Cabrera. He's more of a utility guy. He plays second, third, shortstop in a pinch. He plays all those positions really well. He plays them with good defense. He has a good bat, too. Played in AA and AAA last year. You could see him filling in on the Major League roster if injuries happen, assuming this lockout ends. So, kind of like Tyler Wade in that sense. Good defense. Slower than Wade. Maybe a better bat, though. So, I like him a lot. Next, Luis Medina. He has the best arm in the system. He has a fastball that reached 103. He has a filthy curveball. Decent changeup. But he needs to work on his control. He's a lot like Luis Hill in that sense. His control is horrible. His pitches are crazy. You could see him become a starter and an absolutely devastating one. You watch some of his games, he just strikes out everyone. But at the same time, you see him implode and walk 5 batters in a row. It's going to be one or the other. I think he's either going to be a total hit and figure it out. Figure out his control, be an ace in the rotation, or he's going to be a bust. I kind of don't see an in-between for him. Next, Ken Waldichuk. Waldichuk's been rising up on a lot of boards. He's good. He strikes out a ton of guys. He pitched in high A and double A, if I remember correctly. He's a left-handed starter. He's like 6'4". It's a funky delivery, which, adds deception to all of his pitches. Because each pitch is pretty good. His curve and slider are average pitches. His fastball and changes are above average. Needs to work on his control, but his delivery adds deception to each one of those pitches. Kind of see him as Jordan Montgomery in that way, just a less conventional delivery. Montgomery has a really good changeup, good curve. Waldichuk probably has a worse curve. Decent fastball. It's kind of what I imagined for Waldichuk there, just a little bit different. So I'm excited to see what he can do in the minors this year. Tell me what you think of Baseball America's top 10 prospect list. Tell me if you think they left anyone out of it. Tell me in the comments.